So Cara, welcome to our next edition of our Do More podcast. It's lovely to have you here, and I'll ask you some questions just now and let the audience kind of understand where you are now based. But it's super amazing having you here today. So today we're actually going to talk about our venture into the UK. So the foundation is looking to set ourselves up in the UK, and Cara is based in the UK and is going to be part of the setup in the UK, but we'll get to that in a moment. As you always know, that we always start our podcast with a fun question. So my fun question, which Cara doesn't know what the question is, I'm sure she's waiting anxiously to find out. If there is one thing from the UK that you can export into South Africa to make this an amazing place, what would it be? And you can't answer the question yet. You have to answer at the end. We'll come back to it. Let's start at the beginning. So, I mean, you know that we've been talking about the expansion of our funding in South Africa and trying to get more funding to do the work that we have been doing in South Africa. We've looked at setting ourselves up in Europe before, and kind of thought, no, the time's not right. The foundation's now 6.5 years old, and it just seems like the right time to be doing what we're doing. But maybe you want to just start by, like, how long have you been in the UK now?
Yeah, so we've been in London for 18 months now.
Okay.
Gosh, can't believe how quickly the time has gone and how different it is there. But it kind of seems like a no-brainer to set up our Do More UK as the next exciting adventure. And there's two interesting facts that really back this decision as well. And the first one is that the UK has got the second largest South African population, second to South Africa. So we've got massive amount of support, I would think, in terms of expats coming back and wanting to support the incredible work we're doing for South Africans. I mean, you never lose that heart and love for your home. So I think we could serve some really great connections there. And the second one is that the UK is known to be a massive philanthropic country. I mean, everyone is so giving, especially the philanthropic trusts that have been set up there, and individuals on a personal basis really want to donate and do more, basically. So I think with those two backing us, as well as the incredible work we do, Do More UK is going to be our next exciting adventure.
And I mean, our thinking in terms of the work that will happen in the UK. Why don't you talk to the audience about what will happen in the UK versus what those funds will be used for?
So there's interesting things that are happening in the UK around the charity sector. We're seeing massive amounts of charities being established every day, which is why we're on quite a long waiting list to get registered. A lot of the charities in UK are supporting work in the UK, but there's a lot supporting Africa and the kind of Middle East as well. So we are going to be the funds, generated from UK are going to come towards our South African project. So we won't be doing any work in the UK itself. It'll be all our South African projects. It will just be bringing the funds. I think pounds go a really long way in terms of our porridge. We know R1.50 feeds is a meal of our Do More porridge. In terms of funds and the exchange rate sitting at 25 Rand to the pound, £1 can feed a lot of children. So I think we have that working in our favor too, but it is really competitive. So a key hurdle for us to get over is building trust in the UK. Establishing it, we're well known in South Africa, but coming in as a little organization, I think that's why a lot of charities don't do so well there, is the connections and how do we actually, now meet people and apply for these grants and all of that. So I think it's going to be a learning curve for us all.
We had a podcast earlier where we spoke about the backbone role that we play. And our link to corporates So, I mean, I'm thinking that that's going to be a huge benefit. I mean, that's our success in South Africa. We're going to do something similar in the UK, right?
Exactly. And I think replicating that model of being acquainted with an anchor business or someone that's well known in the UK like we do in South Africa, all of a sudden that trust is there.
Yes.
If this big organization is backing you and they're investing in you,
Yes.
well, we'll do the same as well. So it's going to be really interesting to test this theory and see if it's just a South Africa thing or if it's something that can be replicated across the world even. And I mean, we're talking about UK now, but could we replicate this in Canada and elsewhere if we've got other big corporates that are willing to back us and believe in our cause? So that's going to be a great trust building exercise. But also in terms of the learning with RCL Foods, what I've found so incredibly helpful, especially from us in the communication space, is that when we are putting together a campaign, we will go to the RCL communications team and be like, hey, what do you think of this? Will this register with other corporates? What do we need to add? Is there enough purpose here? Look at the graphics, etc. In the UK, we don't have that background. It's a very different people that we're speaking to. So if we're in a UK business already, going to their sales team or marketing team and saying, hey, would this register with the UK people? Audience, exactly. I think it would be great to learn from them, especially in the marketing kind of space. And corporate social investment in general. So we know that in South Africa, a huge part of our funding comes from business. We've been able to tap into that market. And a big portion is because business has to invest in social development through corporate social investment. In the UK, the tax benefit for corporate social investment is not as high. It's not a great incentive. So how else do we inspire business to donate and invest into young children in South Africa? And that's where exploring this whole avenue of climate change and actually how COP27 even calls upon first world countries to invest in creating more climate resilient communities in third world countries. And that's a lot of the work that we do as well indirectly is mitigation and adaptation strategies for climate change. So I think that's going to be an interesting angle for us to get companies, corporates, businesses to invest in the work that we do versus just come and help us combat malnutrition, for example, in South Africa. It's a different story that we're going to be telling that side and experimenting with.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. We're going to have a chat with Nicole actually around the climate change in another podcast. So, I mean, just for our audience, all these processes take so long. I mean, I remember when we were setting up Do More South Africa, and they said, oh, well, it'll just be like a few months and you'll be set up. Well, I think it took like a year and a bit. So all these processes take a long time. I think we just set up our company in the UK. So we have Do More UK company set up. And the charity is going to take time, as we know. I think we spoke to the Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation. I think they're still struggling more than a year on or so in setting up their foundation there. But I think in the meantime, with the company set up, it's a good start in terms of interacting with UK corporates and citizens, I guess. And so, like, what are you excited about in terms of like the next steps?
The red tape is. I think it gives us time to think. So we're trying to look at it in the positive light. That's for sure. It's allowed us to do a lot of thinking, exciting stuff in the comm space in the meantime. But we're excited to get going. What I'm really keen to do, and I think it's what we've done here really well, is to inspire. And there's an amazing, if anyone is ever looking to see who is donating what to whom in the UK, there's an incredible database called the Charity Commission. So if you go on there, there's incredible filters. So I go and I filter South Africa, young children, donating to the institutions directly, and it gives me a list of 1,000 to 2,000 UK registered philanthropic organizations that are donating specifically to our type of work, including enterprise development, development and all the other exciting stuff that we have going on. So I'm excited now. I've got a long list. We've got a long list to get through an email. So I'm keen to hop onto those and inspire those people to do more with us. Yeah. And let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next venture, and I think it makes the most sense. Keeping close to where South Africa is, and like you said, most the UK has the highest population of South Africans outside of South Africa, keeping that connection, and I think. And a lot of our corporate partners have offices based in the UK. So PwC, our attorneys, etc., that we work with here, have offices there. So I think it's a good base on which to start. And you've been with the foundation how long now?
6 years.
6 years, yeah. So
almost to the day, actually. I think the 18th of Jan is the first time I came and had coffee with you as a volunteer.
Yeah, that's quite correct. Okay. So you have an incredible knowledge of the foundation, and been with it since nearly the start. So I'm excited for this next part of your journey, but being based in the UK. And you're also a slightly different place as well. So the audience probably doesn't know, but you've had a little one.
Yes.
Little Jordan, who I met this morning. Very cute. So all the best, and it's wonderful to have you here, even though for a short time before you fly back to the UK.
Yes.
So we need to get back to the question I asked right in the beginning. So what would you export from the UK into South Africa?
I would bring back here, and it's probably a very strange answer, but there's an amazing array of Fantas in the UK.
Fanta.
Every flavor you can possibly imagine.
Oh, really?
There's there's all sorts of, there's a strawberry cheesecake flavored Fanta. I don't know if you know that. It's 0, right? So there's no sugar.
No,
I think I'd bring that back. Yeah.
Okay.
For you guys.
Well, there we go. So thank you, Cara. Thank you for the great chat today. And I hope you enjoyed our intro into our new venture into the UK. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us on this podcast.
Playtime.